Hello there. Hello. It's a bit raining here. I'm traveling. I'm not at home today. So I'm going to be doing this segment here where I am in the car. So in this chapter, I'll be talking to you about some games that we used to play. It wasn't like everything was boring and abusive all the time, but there were also times that we had a good time. We enjoyed ourselves back in the days, during the days of my childhood. So that's what I want to share with you in this chapter. Remember, this is a book that I'm writing, a visual audio book, which is unique in nature. And it's sort of also, you can put it as a documentary of my life if you wish to. So this is really an open book about my life. And the idea is to motivate a life, is to inspire someone out there. You might have been going through, you might have gone through, or you know someone who is going through some challenges, or you might not have gone through any of these challenges, which I don't wish anyone to go through, of course, but you can still be inspired. Life itself is inspiring. I'm inspired by life itself. I'm inspired by my life. I'm inspired by other people's lives. But so then, during the childhood times, we used to play really a lot of games and have beautiful memories. And we never knew television, we never knew cartoons. We were not exposed to that because where I was, there was no electricity, there was no television, there was even the radio. Yeah, you could have a radio, but the reception of the network or the waves was very poor. But that's what we could have back in the days. But well, like I said, I have also exciting memories of my childhood. Back in the days, I engaged in various creativity. We would actually make anything out of clay, They would go into some hills made of ants, and then the clay would be very suitable, so much suitable to make anything like cows. Cattle would make cattle, even cars would make anything out of the clay. So sometimes if you want it to be very strong, you have to put it in fire so that it becomes even stronger. But then we were also able to make some cars out of wires, and different types of wires really would make ourselves something exciting, cars that would drive. And then you put a long stick connected to the car that you'll have made. Actually make also some wheels on that car made of wires. I'll put up some pictures if I find some, but yeah, there are plenty of pictures. If you can just Google cars made of wires from Africa, you'll be able to see them, how they looked like. And so we created our own world full of happiness and opportunities, of course, and we drove our cars made of wires, and others were, of course, exceptional than others. Other cars, some would really make beautiful pieces out of the wires, and they will be looking so wonderful and great and amazing as compared to others. Of course, I was just an average person, and in making such. And during the summer, we would swam in the rivers. There will be some rivers, the rains will have come down, and the rivers will be swollen with water trickling from one end to another, and there will be like a catchment, a big pond, like a small dam, should we say, a catchment of water, where then we can spend some time swimming. And that's where I also learned how to swim. I wasn't all that good enough on swimming, but I could do one or two swimmings. And a couple of times I almost drowned in the river. A couple of times I recall I had to be saved by some friends, some colleagues. They had to pull me to safety during those days. And also hunting was one of the hobbies that we used to do. We would go with dogs, sometimes without dogs. For dogs, you'd be looking for rabbits. You would hunt rabbits and nemembre and all those kind of animals, small animals really. But I don't remember catching any with the dogs. But there are other animals that I was able to capture by myself, like the birds and the rats, the mice. We could dig down underground for the rats, and they were really delicious for the meal, and very nutritious, full of protein, and so delicious. And would really have a beautiful meal if you capture these rats in the forest. And you dig them. Some they'll go really deep underground, and you have to dig with a hoe, and you'll be able to dig them out. And so yeah, I captured a lot of birds also during my childhood times. We would use a sticking, what do you call it? Like stick sap. There will be a sap that you get from the tree, or the different trees. There will be a sap that you get from a specific tree, a white sap. Then you also have would go with sadza, that's our staple food there, made of milli meal, and to have the sadza, sticking it to the sap from the tree. There'll be another tree which will have some little balls in and up the tree, and would extract it from those tree, boil those small balls, and you crush them with a mortar, and they produce the stuff. You mix it with a little bit of oil, and that will be the stuff that you would then roll on a small stick and put it where the birds would come to get water, along the river or somewhere by the river. So you have to put it there to trap the birds, and you would really catch beautiful birds, and that would be also good for the meal, for the dinner, or for anything that you'll be having in terms of eating. So that was really some of the things that we used to do back in the days. And so these games or these activities were popular in August, during the August, the dry season, and they will be also on holidays from school. And I also had a catapult, reckon in Shona, we call it reckon, a catapult that you can also hit a bird from a distance. We used to make these for ourselves, so we were so very creative back in the days. So the catapult, you use it to hit a bird, to hit anything. I recall one of the days I was coming from the garden, and there was a snake hanging by the door of the kitchen, by the it's a thatched house. We had our houses back in the days, even up to now, they will be made of thatches. The roof will be made of thatch, so it will be a thatched house, just basic thatching, not the the beautiful thatch that we usually have these days for tourism or for attraction purposes. It wasn't that attractive. It was just good enough to hold the thatch, the grass together, so that there's no water when it is raining. There's no water, and there's no rain going into the house. And also, when it is hot, you are rest assured of safety. So then there was a snake hanging by the door, but from the thatch, the thatched roof, and it was by the door of the kitchen. And I just took my catapult, one stone, I hit it straight to the head, and it died instantly. And I was just a hero back then. So those were some of the things. Wow, when I moved to where my mom was, basically, it was a place thick in terms of forest, and people had just relocated to that place when people started to grow cash crops and cash crops like tobacco. Tobacco, the growing of tobacco came really with bad memories for me, because people had to take down the trees in order to cure the tobacco. So as a result, my rural area no longer have the trees that we used to have and enjoy. Having the thick forest around also came with its own risks, because I recall whilst we are outside at the middle of the yard, we would put up a fire so that we can spend some night just whiling up, having some stories being told to us, the old tales. Our grannies would tell us some stories. You could easily see a snake passing by, a snake passing by during the night with the light from the fire. You were able to see some snakes, and I recall twice, if not more times, when we would feel the cold in our sleep. During our sleep with my brother, we would share, the same, would sleep on the floor, so you would feel the coldness and then when you look around closely, you realize that it's a snake. So on twice occasions, we had a snake sneaking into where we were sleeping, and we were just children. We were just young, but grown up around the age of 12, and they're about 13, 14. And then we would wake up during the night and try to make sure that we are safe. So really, and going back, when we were in the fields looking after the cattle, because during the summer you need really to look after the cattle closely, because the fields will be green with the crops of people. So if you don't look after the cattle, the goats, they'll end up being in the fields of people, and that will mean trouble for your family, and for yourself. You'll be beaten thoroughly for having led the cattle into the fields of people, and because that will be their livelihood. And so we had to look after the cattle and the goats properly. And then during the times, a lot would then happen, like people would fight. The animals, of course, will be fighting against each other, and the battle can be so fierce, and injuring the animals with their horns. They'll be injuring each other. But sometimes when your cattle has been defeated, or your cow has been defeated, you will then engage the owners of the cattle, of the cows, into a fight as well. So sometimes if you don't stand your ground on the fight, you will be everyone will just have an easy go on you. So sometimes you have to stand your ground and fight very bravely, so that you stand your ground and no one will come just bullying you anyhow. So this is how sometimes we would really secure our safety. I recall one of the days we were fighting against a certain family. So families could fight against each other. This We were just young, teenagers, or even below that age. So I remember I fought a girl who was she was older than me and taller than me, and so when I defeated her, I was respected. Like, people would then respect. You will be respected, really. So that's how fun it was. Of course, we don't encourage in fighting. It was just a game, really, not really it's a game for children. And in that regard, I condone fighting. I don't encourage any fighting. I don't promote fighting. I don't fight at all. I've never fought anyone. Even my wife, I've never fought my wife. I've never beaten my wife. I've never beaten anyone since I've grown up, because I hate fighting. Whenever there is a fighting, when people are making noise, you don't find me there. I disappear instantly, because at some point I was really heartbroken when my mom was married by the stepfather. The days and the years I stayed with them, they were always fighting fiercely. So I hate fighting up to this very moment. When I see people fighting, I don't stand the ground. If I cannot control the fight, if I cannot do anything, I won't stay there. Even in town, when people are making noise, you won't find me where there's noise. Fighting really between people, especially those who are in love, who love each other, is something that I don't even like at all. Even among those who do not know each other, or friends, anyone, I don't like fighting at all. So these are the things that we used to do. So we used also to play football in the pastures as well. And these are the games that we used to do back in the days. And a number of games also. Some of the games like Pada. If you Google, you also see what Pada is, an African game, looks like, and how you'd do it. And to be having some boxes, and you'll be standing on one leg pulling a stone, and it has to be directed. You have to direct it to the box that you ought to. And also, or you can throw the stone or a stick or anything that can stick into the box. And then you have what we call chikokoko. Chikokoko janya pasi usotese asina. And that will be like the song we used to sing. Then we would have nodo. Nodo, you have small boxes. It's more like draft. But you'll be putting some stones. And if your stone, as you are dropping the stones in those boxes, if the drop hits the other box adjacent to the opponent, and there are other stones in that box that you have hit, you have dropped the stone, and you would also take the opponent's stones, because they will have been like in sync with the last drop of your stone. So you have to take it from the opponent until the opponent has nothing left, and the opponent will also be doing the same. Fish will be like a rope, two people from one end to another. You'll be like rolling it. One will be like in the middle, jumping for the rope. Fish, spell your name, Fish, something like that. and we'll have like maflau, raka raka, free start. Raka raka, you have a ball. So a ball is thrown on the ground, you hit the ball. If the ball is caught, then you're out. But if the ball goes far, you have to go from where you have hit the ball to the circle that will be somewhere in the middle, or to the opponent circle, and it will be counting, and you'll be winning. And we'll also have wish as well. Maivarona, oye oye rona, vakapisa mwana, oye oye rona, neku karanopi, oye oye rona. Those are the songs that we used to sing. And you wonder, hide and seek. You hide, and your friends have to look for you. So, yeah, those are some of the plays that we used to have back in the days. I might not have exhausted some, I have forgotten some, I might have forgotten some, but you can also comment on the comment section area, some of the games that you recall back in the days we used to, and the things that you used to do. It also depends from culture to culture, from people to people, from countryside to countryside, from rural to rural. And remember, these rural areas I'm talking about are called reserves, Kuma Reserva. The reserve, the word reserve itself, this is when the colonizers, when the colonizers came, they took the arable land, they took the beautiful land in Zimbabwe, and displaced our fathers, our mothers into places that were not suitable for farming, and these were called reserves. So a reserve, these places were reserved for animals, not for human habitation. So, but up to this very moment, nothing has changed. When there was now land redistribution program, still these people did not benefit. They're still back in the rural areas. A few benefited, but I know from my people in Urungwe, they're still in their area. Probably they're comfortable in these areas, but the land is dilapidated, and it's mountainous, and a stone is not really conducive for cropping, for farming. So these are the places my people are still living and having their lives, and they've now generations and generations have been in the same environment. And as families grow, they marry, they give birth, they will be having their own children, and the land does not expand. It's still small, and there will be fight also on this land to control the land. And it's such a pity, and these are some of the sad memories when it comes to the issue of the land amongst my people back in the rural areas, in the reserve areas. So until we see each other again in the next chapter, it's a bye-bye for now. Thank you for listening.